Hey everyone, welcome to yet another video. So in this video, we'll be looking at state drift in Terraform. Before getting into state drift, I would like to just briefly explain you, for those who don't know, what Terraform state is and how Terraform state is maintained. So basically, you will have your configuration in written in Terraform. For example, you have object 1 and its configuration written in Terraform, and object 2 and its configuration written in Terraform. And with this, you initialize a backend with Terraform in it, Terraform plan, and then Terraform apply. This would create a Terraform state where it says object 1 and creates object 1 in reality. So in this Terraform state, it will have all the necessary details which may even add up to the details that you have provided. For example, if you have created an object like an EC2 instance or an AKS cluster in AWS, sometimes you may not specify the version or something of that sort. So it basically creates with the default values that it generally takes, and that default value will also be recorded in here. So now, what is state drift? So state drift is when you haven't changed the infrastructure, that is the real resource using Terraform, but have manually changed somebody. If you are working in an organization, somebody has manually changed the object or resource, and it's not recorded in the state or in the Terraform configuration. There are many cases to it. Sometimes the configuration need not be changed. For example, if there is an EKS cluster in AWS, that is a Kubernetes managed Kubernetes in AWS, and uh, the version is not explicitly defined in uh, um, the configuration. But once the cluster is upgraded manually or with a script or with the pipeline or in any other form other than Terraform, it will be it should be stored in the Terraform state. Even though we are not mentioning the version explicitly in the configuration, the Terraform state will store the version here.
So when do we have state drift? Whenever the resource is changed without using Terraform, then there is a state drift. So without using Terraform, whenever you change your configuration or changes happen to your configuration, there will be state drift. Now understand. Now how do you solve this? So now you have certain Terraform commands that help you uh, align your state with the um, align the state with the actual resources uh, without changing the infrastructure or the configuration. Sometimes if configuration has difference, then you will have to, but in this video we'll be looking at only how you can align your state with the resource. So there are a couple of ways. One of them is Terraform refresh. Now refresh, and there is another command, Terraform um, remove and import, removing a resource from the state remove, and then state import, Terraform state import. Let's learn one by one. I'll first explain you a scenario. For instance, I'll explain a proper example. You have EKS in AWS. It is running in 1.30 with a particular AMI type. Okay, and it is maintained in Terraform. In Terraform, you have mentioned only an EKS cluster, the node groups, and the other configuration, but not the AMI type, for instance. Or for this, and here you have the EKS, where you have the control plane and the node groups node groups and you have a Terraform state which maintains all these things. Now you have there is a person in your team or you yourself had to manually or through the script upgrade both the control plane and the node group to 1.33 or 1.32 anyway. And if you know in a scenario 1.32 was not compatible with the AMI that was in 1.30. Okay, so what happened? You had to change the AMI type, that is delete the node group and create a new node group. That was the process because the AMI type had changed. So let's consider two cases. In the first case, you created just for an example, take the node group name as node group. In the first instance, the person deleted this node group and created a new node group with the same name. There is downtime to it, but I'm not explaining that in this video. In this video, we'll be focusing only on straight drift. So he created a new node group. So once this is done, now the thing is, in the Terraform state, there is a node group named node group, but it is having a different AMI and different version. Okay, so uh, now you need to refresh the you need to align the state with the resources. Now the only difference is in the configurations inside the resource. So Terraform refresh would do the thing. So when do we use Terraform refresh? I'll use a different color. So Terraform refresh. So Terraform refresh is used when you are not completely changing the resource, but you are only changing the configurations in the same resource. So refreshing the Terraform state would update all the necessary configurations without actually changing anything in the actual resource. Let's consider scenario 2. In this scenario 2, so in this scenario, this node group, the earlier node group, the person did not delete this. He created a new node group because the node groups cannot have the same name. So he created a new node group 1 with the updated AMI and then completed the upgrade. Now for in this case, the Terraform state had resource name node group sorry, and now the resource has node group 1. So in this case, you cannot only refresh the Terraform and get the state in sync because the Terraform would throw an error saying there are resources that are not managed by Terraform. So in this case, you can use Terraform state remove the earlier resource, that is node group. Uh, it actually the syntax will be with reference to how you are written the configuration, and then Terraform state import the a new node group, that is node group 1. So in this way you can import the resource and import the resource that are created outside of Terraform and sync it to the state. Once you have synced this in the state, before you run Terraform, you should make sure that you have updated the configuration, or else you have to put those in the life cycle ignore block, where you tell Terraform that these are things that has to be ignored in the configuration and only has to be ignored in the configuration and as stated in the Terraform state or the default state. So This is how you deal with Terraform. This is how you deal with state drift in Terraform. So concluding, conclusion is whenever whenever there is a change in resource outside of Terraform, there is state drift. If if the resources are changed or updated or updated or changes in the same resource is being done, then refresh Terraform state refresh would solve the issue. And if a new resource is created or the name of the resource is changed, then you will have to remove the resource from the state and then import the new resource into the state. This would solve